Good evening, everyone. So, we will be starting in 2 to 3 minutes. We are waiting for a few more participants to join. So, please stay online. All right. So, I'll just start sharing my screen. Just a moment. Okay. So, my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Rahul, and I'm one of the team members here at Indian Counseling Services. And thank you, everyone, for joining the team, for joining this Counseling Practical Internship program. And I would like to first welcome you all for this beautiful journey. So let's start with a little bit introduction of how the application works and how the system works. So basically, if I talk about the use of the ICS Android application, so you don't have to anymore go to the live classes. The option has been changed now. So you have to go to the chat box directly where we will be sending the Zoom links, and study material will be provided. It will be uploaded on Monday for both the classes of Saturday and Sunday. In the library section, there is an option of study material. And in the library section itself, there is an option of assignments also. So both the study material and assignments are going to be uploaded on Monday for the Saturday, Sunday class. And for the security reasons, nothing can be downloaded or screenshots cannot be taken. And for the recordings, yes, we do provide the recordings in case if you miss the class, and if you know that you are not going to make it to the class today, you can either send us an email regarding this, or you can tell your academic counselor that you won't be able to attend today's class. In that case, we will provide you the recording. Any post information after the class, recordings will not be provided. So if I talk about the assignments, you will get 5 to 6 days time to submit the assignments. In any emergency, if you need more time, yes, the time will be given. And you need to submit the assignments in Word or PDF format. I would recommend you to do it in the PDF format. And the assignments and as attendance will be considered for LOR for sure, and certificate as well. Attendance is very important. I want everyone to please attend the live classes because that would be more beneficial for you. 70% attendance would be mandatory from our side. And in the chat box, please don't use the chat box if not required. You can first contact your academic counselors, and don't put your mobile number or personal details in the chat box or your email address. After the course is complete, we will send the procedure of how to get the certificate. In the chat box, you will get email and WhatsApp also. You have to just follow those couple of instructions to get your email and LOR, to get your certificate and LOR. So thank you everyone for giving us this opportunity to serve you with the Counseling Practical Internship. And I would be really happy if you get 100% out of it. And please don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. All the details are provided here. And just in case, if you don't have this email ID, you can contact our academic counselor, because you might be needing this email ID after the course is complete. And for today's course, today's batch, we have Sonali Grover. She is a RCA licensed psychologist and a special educator. I would request Sonali to please take over, and let's start the session. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. So, just to begin with, good evening, everyone. So, since we are a handful of us, and I would just want all of us to connect to each other, so we can start with an introduction of ourselves. I would request all of you to please put on your videos. Just waiting for everyone to put on their videos so that we can connect better. Yes. So good evening. I'm Sonali Grover, and I'm a psychologist and a happiness coach by profession. So I'm here to learn from you all, and I'm hoping that it's a full of learning journey, and we all get to know each other much better, and we as a team can, be better professionals in this profession of psychology. So who would want to go first before we begin the session? Let's introduce each other. Let's know each other a bit more. What are you doing? Maybe what one hobby or, one passion that you have. What are you doing by profession? Are you studying or are you particularly into this field? Where are you working? Maybe you can tell us something about yourself. And remember to tell one hobby or passion as well while you're giving your intros. So I'm very fond of doing art and craft. So that's my passion. I started with it first. So who wants to go first? You can just raise your hands and start introducing yourselves. Who wants to go first? Should I name? I thought that you guys can just raise your hand and start. Okay, Miss Roshni. Yeah.
Yes, hello. So my name is Roshni, and I am studying in Amity University, first year BA Honors in Applied Psychology. So my passion, or like let's say a hobby, would be writing poems and prose. And
Wow.
yeah, I'm kind of like a romantic poet, and yeah, I do
Wow.
that. And that was it for me, and this is my second internship, I believe, in like psychology psychological field. So I'm really looking forward for this internship.
That's great. That's great. Okay, who wants to go next? Anyone?
Hi, I would
Yeah.
like to introduce
Yes, ma'am.
my name is Malata, and I was an advocate. I completed my law and practiced in Telangana High Court for 5 years, and in industry practice now. And these days, after pandemic, I industry practice. And my passion is actually psychology is my passion. So I just want to keep my days to teach this psychology, and this is my first course.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That's good to know that you are pursuing your passion.
Yes.
Next.
I'll go.
Yeah, sure.
So, hi, I'm Brenda. I am a first year psychology student in Amity University, Mumbai. And this would be my second internship in terms of psychology. And as for my passion, I mean, my hobby is cooking. I like cooking a lot and reading novels.
Wow, that's great. So you learned a lot of cooking time during the pandemic time when we all were home.
Yes.
I'm sure most of us, tried and explored so many things, especially during that time. Yeah, next.
Hi, my name is Larani Oberoi, and I'm in 12th grade. I'm an ASN A-level student studying in Kulcha School in Gurgaon. And this is my second internship for psychology, and I'm really looking forward to learn the best from it. And my passion is to dance and I love gyming.
That's great. So with what all subjects you have right now?
I have psychology, sociology, biology, PE, and English.
Ah, that's nice. That's nice. That's a good combination and a different one. So what are your plans to pursue further? Do you want to take up psychology, exploring this
I
field?
do, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, who wants to go next?
Hi, this is Devkanya Rudra from Kolkata, and I have recently completed my bachelor's in psychology from Singapore, and I'm aiming to do my master's in counseling.
That's nice.
And my hobbies would be listening to music because that's the only thing I do the whole day. And if I talk about passion, it would obviously be psychology. And I really love taking those psychometric tests on myself, which are available online. So, yeah.
So you're a good explorer then. That's great. That's great. Next. Who was left?
Hello, madam. Can I
Yes.
speak?
Yes, sure, sir.
Myself, I am Vishnu Prasad. I am from Ernakulam, Kerala. Actually, I work at SBI, State Bank of India. But I have a passion for psychology as well as counseling. So I was trying to find a good internship. Actually, I'm from a BTech field, so I'm
Okay.
trying to change my profession. Psychology is in my passion, heart, mind, everything. So this is my first internship from a recognized institute, and my hobbies are I do write, but mostly I write in my mother tongue Malayalam, but I as well, and I'm trying to become a storyteller also. So initially I start with my mother tongue same as Malayalam, but I would like to do English in future, because when coming to writing we feel so much emotional as well as we can express our views in mother tongue. That is what I felt. So that is why I'm writing in Malayalam. So like to be a good counselor and be a psychology aspirant. Thank you, madam, and thank you all.
Wow. Wow, that's so good to know. And you've diversified yourself into so many things. And now coming to counseling, it's a very big step and it's a very strong step to move on from settled life to an unstable career. What will happen now? How will I deal with it? But you are being headstrong and I'm sure you're much passionate about it. That's why you are planning to shift. That's great. That's so good to know. Okay,
Actually,
who wants?
one
Yes,
one
sir.
more thing that for the last 1 year, I'm working in SBI for the last 7 years. Throughout this career, I'm always dissatisfied with this State Bank of India. Thing is that I want to be a happy person. Always the complaints come in a bank, so I don't feel that happiness. So I was searching for my passion for the last 1 year. I meditate a lot. I ask myself what I'm looking for, what is my passion. At last, I got an answer from my subconscious mind. I'm good at talking. I'm good at, so that will be helpful for a counselor or a psychology professional people. So I think I go for something what I like and I dream for. So I think this is the time for it. And thank you, Mera,
That's
again.
that's great. I hope you're able to, fulfill your this thing, your quench and your thirst for knowledge, and we're all able to learn with each other. That's great. That's great. So good. Anyone else left? I think Ananya. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ananya. Roshni, Brinda, and I were all from the same university. We're all from Amity. We're first years.
Yeah.
This is not my first internship. I've interned in a lot of places. I do not have a psychology background per se. I was preparing for NEET. I got into medical school. I did a year at Cooper Medical, and then I dropped out.
Okay.
And then I've come to Amity. So that's how I've come to, pursue.
Pursuing psychology only?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's great.
But I was more interested in neuroscience. But,
Mhm.
I don't know, something clicked in me and it didn't really feel the right profession to me. So I came down to the next best thing that was related to the mind. And that was, more curious than prodding into somebody's head every other day. So, yes, that's why I'm here. As for my hobbies, I do everything a normal person would. I read a lot. In fact, I have a book right here that I was reading right before this started. So, I enjoy reading, I enjoy cooking. The one thing I suck at is art. So, yeah, that's me.
Ah, that's great. That's good. I'm excited to know you more. Probably during the internship sessions,
I'm
we'll
very
get
chirpy. You'll
to
get to know me.
we'll get to know each other more. That's great. That's how, the learning happens. It's a two-way process. It's not just one-way learning. I am just saying, and you are just listening. So I don't want to do that. I Why are the videos off now? What happened after the introduction? The videos are going off. Is anyone else left? Please speak up. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
Champa Manyan.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm Champa Manyan here from Orissa, and I'm running a boutique now. Actually,
Hmm.
I'm also interested in gardening and Ayurveda, alternate therapy.
Wow. Hmm.
So, part of my hobby, alternate therapy. So I went. I also want to go into counseling. Uh, it will help me in my therapies. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
See, counseling, we'll discuss more about it, but yes, you are right. Maybe you can apply those skills, whatever you've learned, into your profession. That will be a good thing.
Yeah, that
That's
will help
great.
me. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely. Anyone else left? All done? Uh, I would request all of you to just rename yourself with your own name. I think there's this Lenovo tab. So just, ma'am, requesting you if you can just rename yourself, or if you can update me with your name, probably I could help you with that. Okay, all right. So I'll just share my screen and then probably we can start. Okay, so till the time I'm sharing my screen, I want to ask one question, and till the time I'm sharing, you all can think about it. So, before we start, what is the one thing that came to your mind and that you thought that, okay, I want to do this internship? What was that one thing that came to your mind that this is the internship that I wanted to do? So, what was your drive or what was your motivation? Just quickly think about that one thing till the time I'm sharing. Are you all done? Maybe I can, this can be our rule, maybe a thumbs up from all of you that are you done? I am done. I've thought about why I'm here. Have you all thought about why are you here? From most of you. Yeah. How about the others? Miss Sumlata, Miss Roshni, Miss Vrinda, please put on your videos. It will be really great if we interact through this way. Okay. Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first before we begin and share why are they here? What is that one thing that, that drive them to join this internship?
Can I speak?
Yeah, sure.
So, I'm usually a very hands-on person. So whatever theory is there is basically taught to us in lectures, right? Since I am pursuing a degree in psychology. So it's all very theoretical, and being a hands-on person, I'd like it to be a little more practical to give me an edge to how it actually works in a corporate setting, in whatever setting per se that we'd be learning about. So that is what pushed me to be here, something a little more than theory.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's great. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else who wants to share?
Shall I?
Yeah, sure.
So as I'm going to pursue counseling as a part of my master's degree, so I believe that I require more of a knowledge in the field of counseling. And during my college days, I seriously didn't have that many modules about this topic. So yeah, that's the reason, to gain more knowledge. In a nutshell.
Anyone else? Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure we'll be learning through practical ways as well as a bit of theory, of course, that's required, but definitely in a way, practical way. And we'll also be learning from each other. So that's why we are here. Anyone else who would want to share why are they here? Maybe
Ma'am?
if I have. Yes, sure, please.
Yeah, so I think it would, like this internship would give me a small window or an opportunity to see where I can pursue my master's, like in which field or specialization that I can do. Of course, in counseling, but in what aspect or in what sphere. So yeah, I'm looking for that a bit clarity in that area of my life.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Anyone else, or should we proceed further? Please unmute yourself and you can speak up if you want to. Otherwise, then we'll move further.
Madam, can I speak?
Yes, sure, please.
Actually, in my case, it is very difficult to start the first step for me, and it is very easy to move on for the rest of the things. So I just decided, let me begin first. That is why I'm here.
That's great. That's great. And it's very difficult to take the first step because you tend to have a thing that I might fall. Am I in the right direction? Is it a good thing to do? So this is for everyone, I'm saying. It's very difficult to take the first step. But once you take the first step, I think that's where you are pushed to go and you get motivated to work hard more and achieve your goals. Okay, so contents for today, maybe you can just note down if you want to, or you can just have a look. So we'll just do the introduction, a few of the counseling approaches, theoretical modalities of counseling, some areas of counseling, where all counseling can be used, some qualities of a counselor, and what are the ethics of in counseling. So all these things we'll be covering up today in today's session. So counseling is not just about giving advice, being judgmental, a form of praying, giving opinion, solving the problems for the client. Do you all agree with me? Hmm? So it's not just about, giving an advice. So all these things, do you think our friends can also do? Is it the same as our friends are doing and counseling? Is it same? Friends, peers, or any support system for that? Do you think counseling is a bit different or is it in the same direction?
No,
Anyone has any views about it?
it's different, completely different. That is, it's a professional way. And what we are doing is a professional way, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Anyone else who has some opinion about it or who wants to share what counseling is before I begin with it?
Ma'am, in let's say a friendship scenario, the person who is talking to let's say I am having a problem in my life, a relationship problem, and my friend is giving advices कि अरे ये मत कर वो मत कर. It's clear cut path that they are giving us, and they might bring in their opinions, their judgment, and their similar stories. But in a counseling perspective, in a counseling setup, the person does not give advice. The person guides us to what our path could be, and they would provide positive regard, unconditional positive regard, and not being judgmental in any form.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You've already used some of the technical words that we will be using today. Okay, so why I used this slide first was just to make it clear that it's not just about, giving an advice, oh, you can do this, giving you some options, but it's actually guiding in an individual way. Being judgmental is something, where you are judging the other person. How will your client feel if you are in that scenario? If you're being judgmental about it. So we have to respect, irrespective of their caste, creed, race, anything. So it's not a form of praying. We cannot pray about our client, about, as therapists or as counselors, we cannot pray for our clients. It's not a form of praying. Counseling does not come under that. Not about giving your own opinion. Like, for example, if I say ki in my opinion, I think you should do this because had I been in your place, I would have done this. So it's like my personal bias is coming into play, which is not exactly a part of counseling. Solving the problems for the client. If we only tell the client that you can do this, you can do that, then how will the client learn? How will his growth happen? We want him to learn and we want him to face the situations, and that's how he should learn. So counseling is not about that. So what exactly is counseling? So counseling is, so this is the definition. Maybe if you want, you can note this down as well. The process of assisting and guiding clients, especially by a trained person or a professional basis, to resolve specially personal, social, psychological problems and difficulties. So this is what exactly the counseling process is. It's about professional. It can be only facilitated by a trained professional. It cannot be done by any, especially I mentioned friends, because we often get confused that our friend had also told us the similar thing. He or she also gave us the same advice. That's why I especially mention any peer support, any friend or any adult for that matter. That is also, they also think that okay, I also did the same thing as your counselor. Often it is misunderstood. Counseling is often misunderstood in this scenario. So there are So it also, so counseling, moving forward with counseling, the process that occurs when a client and a counselor set aside time to explore difficulties which may include the stressful or emotional feelings of the client. Whatever stressful or emotional feelings of the client, where the client and the counselor, they are there at a specific period of time. So they have, for example, they set up, okay, from 7 to 8 we have our counseling sessions. So they have set up a time on a common agreement, so where the will is there from the counselor side as well as the client side. They both are sitting together to solve, or to, to have that session. So that is a specific time. It cannot happen at any point of time. It cannot be random. It cannot be done through, okay, I talk to you 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, and then the counseling is done. That's not the way counseling is done. So it has to be set up for a particular period of time. The act of helping the client to see more things clearly, possibly from a different point of view. This can enable the client to focus on feelings, experiences, or behavior with the goal of facilitating proper positive changes. So, as a therapist or as a counselor, what you have to do is you have to see from a different perspective as well. And you have to focus on what the client is experiencing at that moment, feeling at that moment, what the behavior is. Then only we will be able to achieve a positive behavioral change in them. We as therapists, we as counselors, what are we going to do? We are planning, we are targeting on bringing a positive change in a person's life. Like, you all are either aiming to be a professional or a professional already. So what is our main aim to become a counselor? As you all just told me that you want to change some people, you want to touch people's life, you want to bring about a change in them. So that positive change, how will it come? So we have to look from different perspectives. There is a relationship of trust, then there has to be some confidentiality is the paramount to successful counseling. Professional counselors will usually explain their policy on confidentiality. That's the most important thing. You have to maintain confidentiality during counseling. And there is a trust between the counselor and the counselee. That is the person who's taking your client. So the counselor and the client, there has to be a trust developed. For that, what do you have to do? You have to build up a rapport with your client. It cannot, and it will be developed over a period of time when the client is trusting you that you will not leak or his information to anyone whatsoever. And there are clauses that are being signed regarding that. So there are terms and policies that are being done. They may, however, be required by law to disclose information if they believe that there is a risk to life. So this line is a kind of an exception that's there. So in terms of, like, for example, there is a case of suicide. All right. So in this scenario, a person's you can see some red flags that, okay, so suicide, he's planning to commit suicide. Maybe he gives you some hints regarding that. So will you just, in this situation, what will you do? Will you just listen to him and try to pacify him, or you will do some other action? Anyone wants to answer to my question? What will you do in this scenario if a person comes to you in the case of suicide? With the referring to the last line that I've mentioned. Yeah, Ananya, Roshni, who wants to go first? Okay, anyone. Maybe Ananya, you can go first.
All right. So basically, a lot of people are, so there's a difference between being suicidal and thinking of committing suicide. So there's a very big difference between that. If at all a person is thinking of being suicidal, you probably have a section known as emergency contacts. You can let them know that, there's a possibility of this happening. If at all, we do that in both cases, any which ways. But if a person is self-harming or doing any sort of behavior which is abusive to themselves, we would approach somebody other than their emergency contacts, and also the law, as if we would I mean, I don't exactly know, but yeah, this is, I hope I'm framing it correctly.
So yeah, absolutely. You are on the right track. So why I wanted to tell you this is something that's very controversial. So not going into the details right now, we will discuss this at a later stage when we will be doing more of a practical. I don't want to disclose it right now, but right now my point is, here there is a difference between when a person's life is at risk, then you involve the family members. Maybe you just intimate them that, he came to me and I could see these red flags that, he might consider committing suicide, or, he's not in a good state right now, or something like that. For that matter, you can communicate and you can break that law of confidentiality at that very moment. That's what I wanted to tell you. I will come to this suicidal part maybe in the coming classes when we are doing the discussions about the role plays. Okay, so I don't want to reveal that right now, because if I tell you, then how will you learn? So I don't want to do that. So my main point was to ask you that there is a difference. Whenever a person's life is at risk, then you can break this law of confidentiality, this contract or this lawful act of signing the agreement that you, otherwise in any other case, you are not allowed to break the confidentiality. Your So it's all the information, whatever the client is sharing with you, it's between you and your client. You cannot reveal it to any other individual, which is against the law. Next, so a bit of theory part now. So coming to theoretical modalities to counseling. So there are different theoretical modalities. First is the psychodynamic, second is the behavioral, cognitive, and client centered. So these are the, I'm sure those who are pursuing bachelor's or master's would have studied about this. So would you want to, any guesses that you guys have with the words or the names? What do they talk about? Any guesses? Even for a layman, what do these words, 4 words talk about? Anything? Any idea?
Can I talk about it?
Yes, sure.
So, from according to what I've been studying right now at the moment, cognitive is any behavior that is directly related to, that is directly coming from the brain, some kind of feeling that you've been feeling or have been blocking in your head that results into some kind of a behavior. Behavioral is usually related to your genetics, or the behavioral psychologists talk about that it's some problem in the brain functioning, and there's a defect in the brain functioning, therefore it results in this kind of behavior the person is giving out. Psychodynamic is something that takes place which is basically the Freud's laws of body, and how he talks about the 5 different types of stages in the earlier life to later one.
All right. So I think you are aware about that. That's great. Anyone else has a different point of view to explain? Any in layman terms, what would you describe? One word each, if anyone wants to speak. Mr. Vishnu, would you want to go about it? What do you think?
No,
How would
ma'am, know anything, so I keep my cup empty.
That's all right, but after reading the words, can you guess what do they talk about?
No, ma'am, not at all. Nothing. I don't.
Nothing?
I don't
Nothing?
know.
Okay,
Nothing.
no worries. Anyone else? In layman's term?
Ma'am, shall I?
Yes, sure.
Psychodynamic is basically our unconscious thoughts and emotions, which are subtle. Cognitive is just the opposite, all the conscious things we do. Behavioral is the answer to any stressor, how we behave to certain situations, certain things. And client-centered, I'm really not aware of.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing, Laranya and Dev. Can I call you Dev if that's okay? Okay. So coming to this, maybe you, if you want, you can definitely note it down as well. Okay, so psychodynamic counseling involved from the work of Sigmund Freud. So he's a famous psychologist. I'm sure you all like research. I would not like to go into much detail about it, but you can all read a bit about that as well. And if you have any doubts, we can discuss in the coming sessions as well. So coming to Freud came across many patients. So he did several studies. So he came across many patients who suffered from medical conditions which appeared to have no physical cause, according to his studies. So this led him to believe that the origin of such illness lays in the unconscious mind of the patient. So that's why it's all about the psychodynamic counseling. Next is the humanistic counseling. So this is a bit of theory kind of a thing. I'm going a bit fast, but I'm just explaining the basic terms. I'm sure you all have done this in depth. For those who have not done it in depth, they can definitely read more about it. I'm just telling in bits and we can discuss it if you have doubts later on as well. Humanistic counseling recognizes the uniqueness of every individual. It assumes that everyone has an innate capacity to grow emotionally and psychologically towards the goal of self actualized and personal fulfillment. So it talks about existential humanistic way. So that's so Maslow's hierarchy of need is one of the example. That's a very famous example that talks about. You can maybe read about that and research more about it if you are interested in reading more about it. So the central theme of client-centered counseling is the belief that we all have inherent resources that enable us to deal with whatever life brings us. The behavioral approach to counseling focuses on the assumption that the environment determines an individual behavior. So it's all about the environment that a person lives in. Like for example, a person who belongs to a very rich family and a person who belongs to a marginally lower he belongs to a lower strata. So there is a difference, the difference between the environment, the kind of resources he receives. Like a child studying, he gets the opportunity, especially in terms of online. If I take an example of online learning, what happens is a child has a computer. Those who belong to a rich family or a well established families, they have access to computer, internet and all of the resources, so child gets more opportunities of learning, whereas he can readily access to his tuitions also online, his school can also go online, whereas a person who cannot afford so much, so he has lack of resources, maybe two or three people sharing a same computer, so he will not get that much time to devote on one particular computer to study that much, to attend all the classes that are happening throughout the day. So all those things played, so the environment also plays a very very important role. So this is what it caters to, that whatever the environment is there, so what that also plays a very important role. So that's how we behave, so that's a behavioral approach. So coming to the uh, yes, so in the humanistic way, I am unique. So behavioral, you can see, so our thoughts that we create, our feelings create our behavior reinforces our thoughts. So this is all the vicious cycle that continues, that is being depicted here in the picture. I hope you all are there. I know it's a bit of theory kind of a thing. Are we all there together and you're not asleep?
Yes, ma'am.
Please let me know if it goes a bit boring, because a few theory things we have to do. No, we can't just talk. A bit of knowledge is also I'm not giving you too much of knowledge. I know it gets overwhelming at times. So I'll just move to the next one. Is my screen visible?
I think you stopped presenting, ma'am.
Just a minute. I'll just reshare again. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
So there are 3 approaches to counseling. Approaches of counseling or approaches to counseling. So first one is the directive, second one is the non-directive, and third one is the eclectic. So directive counseling is the one where counselor plays an active role as it is regarded as means of helping people how to learn to solve their own problems. Counselor tries to direct the thinking of the counselee or the client by informing, explaining, interpreting, and advising him. So it's more when a counselor is playing an active role. He or she is guiding to solve their own problems, to solve their own. So here the counselor is the main person who's, redirecting the person, who's informing, explaining, interpreting, and advising him at that very moment. So it's that kind of a counseling. Next one is non-directive counseling, where client plays an active role and provides all the information of his problems. The counselor assists him to analyze the information, diagnose his difficulties, predict the future course of his problems, and make a decision about solution of his problems. So here the client plays an important role, provides all the information of his problem. So when the client is only aware that this is my problem and this thing I am doing, so what will the counselor do? The counselor will help him or her analyze the information, diagnose his difficulties. Maybe, for example, looking at the example, uh, a, a child comes to you that, okay, I'm having a lot of difficulties in coping up. For example, I'm taking a case of a 9th standard child. He comes to you that, ma'am, I'm having a lot of difficulties, especially in managing my academics, wherein I'm struggling a lot with planning, organizing. I have so many things to do. And my schools are opening right now. Till right now my online classes were going on. I was able to manage my tuitions, my school, and everything. But how will I manage now? I have so much workload. Apart from that, I have joined FitG for my exams. So this is the case that has come to you. So how will you? And he knows that, ma'am, my problem difficulty lies in I'm not able to plan and organize my day. I'm not able to pursue my passion. I'm not able to, I'm not able to focus on my interest, and everything is getting deteriorated. So this is the case that has come to you. So how would you deal with it? How would you help him, just direct? He's aware about his problems. His main concern is that, uh, his planning and organizing is not very good. That he's told you everything. So how will you deal? Anyone wants to answer?
Maybe making a routine on his behalf, like you should do this, you should do that. Even my teacher make it for me because I also had such problems with time.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So timetable is the first thing that you can help your client with at this very moment. So here the facilitator, it's a form of non-directive counseling. Maybe you can help the client. Okay, so you can help the client analyze his information, what all he has given you, diagnose his difficulties. Okay, this is you are having difficulties with time management, with planning, coping up. Firstly, you need to listen to him. Listening is very important. Predict the future course of his problems. That, okay, if you will not learn time management right now, what will happen? You will face problems in 10th, 11th, which are 12th, which are the most crucial years, right? for a child, especially at this point of time when he's realizing himself. A ninth grader realizing himself is also a very big thing. Usually kids don't own up, and come up to you. So you have to really run after them and find them. So it's not that they are very open about it. So this is what I meant in telling you from this example. So it's a form of when the client is aware himself. So here the client is the one who plays a major role. The eclectic counseling. Eclectic counseling is a combination of directive and non-directive technique depending upon the situational factors. So the example I gave you can be, if it can be a form of eclectic counseling as well, right? Where the client and the therapist both are working together in a directive and non-directive. So it is a combination kind of a counseling where the freedom of choice and expression is to both the counselor and the client. So here both of them are equally responsible. Both of them are equally into it. So the plan they are making it together about how to move forward. So the therapist or the counselor is helping the client to work together in that way. Together they are doing it. So yes, he has come to you for that. I'm not able to manage my time. I'm not able to do this. I'm not able to do that. So you both are together sitting down. What is the solution? Making a timetable, helping him sort down that, okay, if you're not able to manage Fiji also with it, maybe you can take it up next year and do these things right now. Start with a smaller goal. It's not good to have so many things on your plate and not being able to do everything together, since you will have to go to school also because of the maybe some batches are called, some batches are off, some due to the like the timetable will vary. For right now it won't be fixed for all the schools. So maybe once the timetable settles in, then you can join your other classes as well. So this is the kind of a solution that you both can take out and help him with the strategies that you can use for time management, for planning. Maybe he can use some checkbooks, maybe he can make some schedules on his board, and put some clipboards that, okay, this is done, the scheduling, the checking, the check tick marks he can put with the pointers that this is my daily task, I have done this. Okay, towards the end of the day he's marking that I'm done with this is left, then he can maybe discuss it with you. So both of you are involved in this process. So this is the eclectic counseling. Okay, moving on to the next, where all counseling can be used. The major areas of counseling: marriage and relationship issues, family counseling. So this is the very most common area, wherein couple counseling is also one of the area where counseling can be used. Relationship counseling, educational and career counseling. In this area, it's used. So educational and career counseling, you will also find there's a lot of confusion between the ones who send out like the educational counselors. So they are also the ones who do counseling for sending children abroad. So they are also a part of the educational council. So career counselors are the ones who, I'm sure all of you must have had a word with any of the career counselor during your school time. Have you? Any career counseling sessions by school? All schools organize some sort of or the other career counseling sessions during school time. Did you come across any? Laranya is saying yes. I am still in that process and I have. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Muskan is also saying all right. So did you before choosing psychology, did you consult anyone, or did you brainstorm with anyone? I went through so many of them. Trust me. I'm being
Ma'am,
very
internet
open.
first.
Internet search.
Then a few psychologists I talked to.
Hmm.
Then I came to like finalize the decision that I want to be a psychologist.
That's great. So they were motivating enough.
Quite a lot.
That's great. That's great. Anyone else who would want to share up their personal story about having career counseling? Did you go through any tests? There are a lot of tests that are available. Maybe a lot of IQ tests are available online. They are free of charge as well. Did you? I had a quest to explore so many of them. I applied all my practicals on myself just to see if I am in the right direction or not. Did you guys do that?
Yes, ma'am. I still am doing that.
That's great. I thought I'm the only one and nobody is responding to this. Okay, moving forward. So rehabilitation counseling. So this can also, the first aid counseling also comes under this. So this is the immediate act that we do to help anyone, recover from anything. Alternative therapies also come in the part of the rehabilitation counseling. That is also a part of rehabilitation counseling. Mental health counseling, that's the most common, and it was widely used, especially during the pandemic as well. A lot of services were offered online, and there are a lot of websites as well who offer mental health counseling online. Substance abuse counseling, especially in this case, there are a lot of so in substance abuse counseling, there are a lot of therapeutic techniques also that can be used, right? We will be going through in detail with each one of them. I'm just giving you an overview of what all counseling scopes are there, what are the areas that are there. Anger management, that is one of the most common concerns that we get to see with the cases, that I am not able to control my anger. I just burst out. I am not able to manage my emotions. That's a very common area, and you get a lot of clients related to that. Stress management, with increasing pressure when it comes to managing your family life, managing your home, work, you definitely get stressed, and that is when you need someone. So this is another area where counselors can work in. Emotional and behavioral counseling, resilience and assertiveness strengthening, parent skills training and guidance. So this is also one area which is flourishing, and it's a very good area of uh, concern. A lot of parents seek training how to deal with their child, especially with children with special needs. They seek a lot of training. They seek a lot of guidance. So you get a lot of clients, especially in this area. They need help. They also need somebody who can motivate. So this is a very flourishing, if you are planning to do this, is also a very good area to pick up if you are interested in. Children and adolescent counseling, this is definitely, you can work in school setting, you can work in centers. So this is also one of the area wherein you can take up, and it's good, and it will stay like for a longer period of time as well. Personal empowerment, self-esteem, self-image, confidence building. So here you can also add on to it, maybe some finishing schools you could join in, and you can groom yourself there if you're interested in. So they provide classes of enhancing self-esteem, self-image, confidence building, wherein you will learn how to do presentations, a lot of other things. And then that's also one area of counseling that is there. Bereavement and grief counseling. So especially during the pandemic, the grief counseling sector, was at a really it was in demand. I got so many cases at that point of time for grief counseling, which I had never encountered since I started my career. So it was my very first time wherein so many cases had come in for grief counseling, especially. So coming next to what are the qualities of a counselor? Anyone wants to go first before I begin?
First would be empathy.
Just one quality. All right, empathy.
A
Active
good
listening.
listener.
Mm-hmm.
A good listener.
A good listener, yes, absolutely.
Patience.
Patience. Anyone else? Now you can see it on
Genuineness. Should not
genuineness.
share with anyone else.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So it can be empathy, unconditional positive regard, patience, genuineness, non-judgmental. We've already discussed a few before only. Facilitate free expression of the client, like wherein the client is very comfortable with you and does not, is not hesitant to engage in any kind of sharing any kind of, thing with you. Anyone, any other quality apart from this that you would want to mention? Maybe I would have missed out. That's okay. Anyone would want to tell me what is unconditional positive regard? Anyone has any idea about unconditional positive regard? What do you think the word looks like, or what is it? It's a very fancy word. When I was in college and learning about it, I used to always wonder what is it all about.
Ma'am, may I try?
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, like sometimes the client come to us and like we think that what he did was wrong. But at that time he wants a support. So that time we have to look at it as positively, like we have to regard it as positive impact so that we can help him.
Yes, absolutely. So here it's a commitment as a counselor that we have to support and accept a person no matter what the person says or does. You know that he's come to you with a problem, right? You know. So he's not in his full capacity. He can say wrong things to you. He can he can be different than what he normally is or what his nature is. So we as a counselor should show complete support and acceptance that okay, if even if he's not expressing properly today, maybe he's not in a good mood. So we are trying to be accommodative of the client, right? So whatever the person says or does, we are just accepting and we are not judging the other person. So that is unconditional positive regard. So the therapist and the client accepts and supports the client no matter what they say or do, placing no conditions. So this is, in simple terms, this is what it is. Okay. And this is a very important, a few more characteristics of an effective counsel. Active listener, genuine, friendly. Whenever you are not friendly, will a person come and talk to you? I don't think so. I might not go to a counselor who is not friendly with me or who is not warm with me, who does not shows acceptance of whatever limitations or strengths or weaknesses that I have, who is not empathetic, trustworthy, kind, and patient. I think these are the most important qualities that are required by a counselor, and I think you all are aware. You've mentioned quite a few of them. Anything else? Anything else that you want to add on to this? Yeah, please.
Ma'am, one of the qualities a counselor must possess is that he or she should be humorous, like so that he can lighten up the situation when it's going bad.
Absolutely, why not? But humorous can be taken up in a different manner also, no? So that's why we cannot mention, but yes, it comes as a complimentary package that yes, you should have a good sense of humor so that you can just lighten the situation. That's what you mean, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so the person should have a good sense of humor so that he can just lighten up the mood. All right. Anything else we can add on to that? Anything else that you want to mention that I have missed out probably while mentioning?
I think the counselor should also be able to express properly, like when the client is speaking, the counselor should at least have a smile or nod her or his head to express that, yeah, I am listening to you, I am understanding.
Yes. So it's all about validating the person's, feelings, emotions, maybe by the use of body language. That's what you mean by maybe by a simple nod or a smile. The appropriate use of body language is also very essential in counseling because the client, whenever the client walks in, as soon as he walks in, he will start looking at you. So, in a real life scenario, just for example, I am sitting here and a client just walks in. So, whenever a client walks in, he will look at you. He will start judging you. So, even from outside, he will start looking at the center where you are sitting, what are the areas, what all coats. They are very observant, they look around what all coats you've put, and they might just start enter and just mention about something like that. Oh, I saw that, is that yours? Maybe if they are open in discussing, they might initiate the interaction, but they are very observant, they are here, they might try to even judge you or say something like that. But we as counselors, what we have to do is we have to stay calm, stay patient, actively listen to what they are saying, and then take cues from that. Okay, now this is what the client has started an interaction. Maybe then you will be able to know that okay, this is my area of direction, this is his area of interest. Maybe you could then use that while counseling or talking to them for even building up the rapport with the client. That's also one way which you can use. That's a common connect that you can use, right? So that's also very essential to know what is the one thing that the client is interested in, or what is that one thing that the client knows, or maybe you have something in common. Maybe it could be anything, it could be even a topic of food discussion, as simple as I had a discussion with where a rapport building, initial process wherein we talked about food, and we talked about for such a good time, and it was so good connecting. So then the client could actually feel that okay, we're all on the right path, and we're all together, and he got so comfortable, and then he started sharing. So he was not an extrovert who would just come and share in all his problems with. But then yes, it was very difficult. So he went to one of my colleague, and then he could not share, and then he came to me, and then we started talking, and then I of course knew that he might not just open up very easily, so rapport building would be a task, and then I could do that. So it's all about, as a counselor, it's all about how much quickly you think about a thing. Okay, now this is how I can do. How quickly you are good at problem solving. Our problem solving is also another quality that a counselor should have, which is not exactly listed kind of a thing, but that comes with a package of psychology, right? So that's also something you really need to have a good presence of mind, and you can't be rude to your client. Otherwise, who will come to you then next, right? So we have to be very, very patient. We have to actively listen to what and we always have to be empathizing. But remember, not to involve your feelings. All right? Not to involve. We'll discuss more when we are going to do more sessions on the internship. But this is just the basic crux I'm talking about. All right. So coming to the ethics in counseling, you guys can see my screen. Is it there? All right. So the first one is being trustworthy. Honoring the trust placed in the practitioner. Autonomy. Respect for the client's right to be self-governing. Beneficence. A commitment to promoting the client's well-being. Non-maleficence. A commitment to avoiding harm to the client. So this is also one of the very important aspect. Justice, the fair and impartial treatment of all the clients and the provision of adequate services. So providing justice to the client. So this is also one of the ethics. Self-respect, fostering the practitioner's self-knowledge and care for self. So if you guys want to note down, you can note down. Where are all the videos? Is everyone asleep? Was it that boring? I'm just waiting for everyone to put their videos on. Where are your inputs? Is there any ethics that I have missed out? Miss Resham, I haven't heard from you at all. Please unmute yourself. Okay. Mr. Sanjay?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm the head of the operation from Indian Counseling Services.
Yeah, all right. Do you have any inputs? Since you are here, I thought that maybe do you have any inputs?
For now, I don't have any, but sure I will.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Miss Muskan, Miss Roshni, do you want to add on to it? Miss Champa, do you have any inputs? Miss Sumlata, do you have any inputs? From your experience, you can share.
Ma'am, what autonomy? What is the meaning of that word? Means in respect to psychology.
Autonomy. So the respect for clients' right to be self-governing, like wherein one person is overpowering or one person is overruling. So that's not allowed. Like counseling is a two-way process. You can't be you can always guide your client, but you can't rule about, I said this, why didn't you do this? I told you, no, you had to do this. We can't do this in counseling. So it's about overpowering. So it's not allowed. So that's against the ethics of counseling. That's a very clear-cut example that I'm giving you in real life that will happen. I told you to do this. Why didn't you do this? We can't be like a teacher telling the child. We can't do that in counseling. So we have to respect both individuals, right? It's a two-way process. It's not a one-way learning. So that's what it means.
Ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Muskan, do you have any inputs?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I want to ask total devotion, did it come in ethics of counseling, like total devotion to the client?
Total devotion, where is it written? Is it written
It's
or are
not
you
written. I'm just asking for my
Yeah, what is the question? Can you just frame it a bit and put your video on as well? That will be great.
Ma'am, actually right now I can't because like
Okay.
there's a light problem, but I
All
will
right.
from tomorrow.
Sure, sure. Can you just repeat your question once?
Ma'am, my question is like total devotion. It can come in the ethics like a counselor should have. He should be totally devoted to the client at the moment when the
Yes.
when the
But
session is going on.
when the session is going on, that can be a part of the ethics, but maybe we'll have to reframe it a bit, because totally devoted can have different meanings to it. So maybe we could reframe it to some other sentence, such as that the client should be only working with uh, the client should the counselor should only be working with the client at that very moment during the session, without any avoiding any distracting forces, like for example, maybe we could give up an example like attending phone calls or talking to other individuals at that point of time. This kind of a total devotion could not come into a ethics counseling thing, because that's a different, that has many meanings to it. So whenever ethics comes to concern, we have to be very specific. It has to be very technical language that is used in that. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
But yes, definitely attending phone calls or misbehaving during the session, there are definitely maybe some point of time during your internship I can go through with the what are the rules and regulations that you can follow, or maybe some written records I could share them with you while we are discussing more in detail. So we can definitely reframe, but we cannot put it as a devotion kind of a thing. Any other question that you have?
No, ma'am.
Nothing else?
Ma'am, I have a question about that the unconditional positive regard. I didn't understand that.
Sure. I will just explain it to you again. Any other question? I'll give you an example and explain it to you now. Any other question? Anyone else did not understand unconditional positive regard?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Miss Resham. Finally, I could hear your voice.
मैम एक्चुअली क्या है ना मैं हिंदी मीडियम की स्टूडेंट हूँ
ओके अच्छा, आपने बताया नहीं शुरू में मेरे को ऐसी बात, तो मैं नहीं तो हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में बोलती, बिल्कुल इसमें ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है। यहाँ पे हम सबको हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों आती है। एम आई राइट? है
पढ़ाई
ना?
के टाइम में थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम हुई थी क्योंकि एमफिल किया हुआ है तो वो टोटल इंग्लिश टू इंग्लिश था। कोशिश की अच्छे से किया एमफिल और अब पीएचडी चल रही है मेरी।
ओके, दैट्स बहुत अच्छी बात है। पीएचडी किस उस पे कर रहे हो अभी आप, और कहाँ से कर रहे हैं?
मेरठ यूनिवर्सिटी, चौधरी
मेरठ।
मेरठ कॉलेज।
ओके, दैट्स नाइस।
वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट कर।
हाँ जी,
वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट।
वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट पे, वाओ दैट्स ग्रेट। तो फिर तो आप बहुत सारे लॉज और वो सब उन सब चीजों के साथ आप काम कर सकते हो, बहुत अच्छी बात है।
जी मैम, पर 2 साल कोरोना की वजह से अभी पीएचडी रुक गई है मेरी।
अच्छा, तो अभी आपने बीच में नहीं, ऑनलाइन नहीं हो पाया आपका वो?
जी नहीं हो पाया।
अच्छा, तो अभी वापस ज्वाइन कर लिया फिर से?
जी।
दैट्स ग्रेट, बहुत अच्छी बात है।
बीच में किसी को डिस्टर्ब नहीं कर रही थी, ओनली लिसन, केवल सुन।
ओके, बट आपको समझ आया जो भी हमने आज क्लास में डिस्कस करा?
हाँ।
कुछ चीजें अगर आपको नहीं समझ आए तो प्लीज आप हैंड रेज करके पूछ सकते हो, नहीं तो अगर आपको कुछ डाउट हो तो आप नोट करके रख लो। मे बी जैसे अभी हम एंड में मैंने ये जो थोड़ा सा टाइम रखा है कि जिसमें हम इंटरेक्ट कर सके और कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछ सके, तो वो चीज हम एंड में भी देख सकते हैं। अगर आपको कोई चीज लग रही है कि मैं दोबारा रिपीट करूँ तो वो भी आप मुझे बता देना, ठीक है? जिसमें कि मैं ट्राई करूंगी, अब आपने मुझे बता दिया है तो मैं कुछ चीजें हिंदी में भी बोलती रहूं और इंग्लिश में भी बोलती रहूं, ताकि आपको वो टू वे लर्निंग हुए, और कोई भी डाउट हो, और मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ पे किसी को भी कोई भी दिक्कत नहीं रहेगी कि अगर आप बीच में हिंदी में भी बात करोगे। ये हमारी सारी लैंग्वेजेस हमारी इंडिया की ही हैं, जो इंग्लिश हो गई, हिंदी हो गई, और यहाँ पे आई थिंक सब साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैं और इतने मेच्योर इनफ हैं, और कुछ लोग साइकोलॉजिस्ट बनना भी चाहते हैं, तो वो मेच्योर इनफ है, अंडरस्टैंड करेंगे कि हमें सबको अकोमोडेट करके चलना होता है। वी आर एज ए टीम टुगेदर, है ना। और हमारी लर्निंग नहीं होएगी जब तक हम एक दूसरे से नहीं सीखेंगे। बहुत सारी चीजें आपको भी आती होंगी जो हमें नहीं पता होंगी, है ना। तो जब आप शेयर करोगे तभी हमें आपसे जानकारी भी मिलेगी। और आपने अपनी इतनी एमफिल भी करी है, अपनी पीएचडी भी कर रहे हो, तो आप अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस जरूर शेयर करो हमसे, तभी तो हमें पता चलेगा कि रेशम जी को भी कितना कुछ आता है। तो उसमें वो चीज नहीं है कि आप चुपचाप बैठे हो। मैंने नोट करा कि आप नहीं बिल्कुल भी बोल रहे हो, तभी मैंने आपको पॉइंट आउट भी करा। तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, सबको इन्वॉल्व रह के ही हमें क्लास में पार्टिसिपेट करना चाहिए, ठीक है। एंड आई एम श्योर सब अकोमोडेटिव होंगे, सो ऐसी कोई भी बात नहीं है।
Actually, it is an opportunity for the people of the South to learn Hindi as well. It is the
सबके लिए it will be a good opportunity and learning for all. I hope everyone is okay with the idea that I have mentioned. Maybe you can give a thumbs up or any reaction to it. I hope it's okay. Thank you for cooperating. देखो रेशम जी सब लोग बोल रहे हैं, सो प्लीज आप पार्टिसिपेट करिए। फॉर ऑल दोज जिन्होंने आज नहीं इतना बोला है, प्लीज आगे की क्लासेस में, कल भी हमारी क्लास है 7 o'clock सेम टाइम पे, प्लीज इंटरैक्ट करिए। जितना आप बोलेंगे, जितना आप इंटरैक्ट करेंगे, उतना ही हमें जो है सीखने को मिलेगा एक दूसरे से। सिर्फ मेरे बोलने से हमें सीखने को नहीं मिलेगा, मैं भी तो आप लोगों से सीखने आई हूँ, मेरे को कैसे सीखने को मिलेगा? मुझे भी तभी मजा आएगा जब हम दोनों आपस में बात करेंगे और इंटरैक्ट करेंगे। ओके, कमिंग टू अनकंडीशनल पॉजिटिव रिगार्ड। अनकंडीशनल पॉजिटिव रिगार्ड एक ऐसी चीज होती है जो एक स्किल होता है काउंसलर के लिए, जो बहुत जरूरी होता है इन एनी सिचुएशन, जिसमें काउंसलर जो है अपना सपोर्ट भी करे क्लाइंट को, ठीक है, और उसको हेल्प करे फैसिलिटेट करने में, उसके गोल्स अचीव करने में, ठीक है। इन एनी सिचुएशन, कोई भी सिचुएशन हो, उसको जज नहीं करे, इन लेमैन लैंग्वेज, ठीक है, उसको जज नहीं करे, अपना अनकंडीशनल पॉजिटिव रिगार्ड उसके प्रति पॉजिटिविटी रखे, ठीक है। रेशम जी, आपको इसके बारे में, ये टर्म के बारे में पता है? अनकंडीशनल पॉजिटिव रिगार्ड आपने पढ़ा होगा?
नहीं मैम, काफी टाइम हो गया मुझे।
ओके, ठीक है, मैंने उसका तभी हिंदी में भी बताया है अभी ये वाली चीज। सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट सपोर्टिंग, सपोर्ट करना अपने क्लाइंट को, ठीक है। एंड इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट गिविंग रिगार्ड टू योर क्लाइंट इन अ पॉजिटिव वे एंड सपोर्टिंग इन एनी सिचुएशन, ठीक है। किसी भी सिचुएशन में उसको सपोर्ट करने को कहते हैं। सो इसमें अब काउंसलर, जस्ट लेट मी कंप्लीट 2 more lines एंड देन आप क्वेश्चन पूछना, ठीक है। सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट कि व्हेन अ काउंसलर सस्पेंड्स एनी फॉर्म ऑफ पर्सनल जजमेंट, एक्सेप्ट्स द क्लाइंट रिगार्डलेस ऑफ कंटेंट ऑफ एनी डिस्क्लोजर दे मे हैव मेड, ओके, एनी काइंड ऑफ थिंग, मे बी आपके क्लाइंट ने आके आपको कुछ भी बताया हो, आप उस सारी जजमेंट्स को साइड पे रख के आप जो है उसके साथ काम कर रहे हो, ठीक है। जजमेंट, नॉन जजमेंटल हम तभी कहते हैं, एक अपने जो काउंसलर को हम क्वालिटी में इसीलिए कहते हैं कि हमें नॉन जजमेंटल होना चाहिए। चाहे कोई भी सिचुएशन हो, हम अपने क्लाइंट को जज नहीं करेंगे। यस सर, आप कुछ बोल रहे थे?
Madam, it doesn't mean that we should support him even if he did the very bad thing like that.
So it means that maybe he has disclosed कि उसने कुछ गलत काम करा है और कुछ करा है which is not against your this thing, which is not in your this thing, कि आप शायद वैसा नहीं करते, अगर आप होते तो आप उसको सपोर्ट कर रहे हो टू कम आउट ऑफ दैट। देर आर डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस, अगर आप डिफरेंट तरह के, अगर आप जैसे स्कूल सेटअप में काम कर रहे हो तो आपको ऐसी सिचुएशंस थोड़ी सी कम आएंगी, बट अगर आप रिलेशनशिप्स के साथ काउंसलिंग कर रहे हो, अगर आप जाके जैसे जेल्स में जाके आप उनके साथ कर रहे हो, सो डिफरेंट काउंसलिंग सेटअप्स, अगर आप डिफरेंट एरियाज में काम कर रहे हो, सो उस तरह की आपको सिचुएशन के बेस पे डिफिकल्टी लेवल आएगा उस चीज को करने का, ठीक है। सो इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एनीथिंग, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू बी जजमेंटल टू योर client. That's what it means. You will have unconditional positive regard for your client. That's what it means. So this is the very important quality of a psychologist or a counselor. Yes. Anyone else? Any questions?
Madam, one more question
Yes.
about education counseling. Actually, should we require knowledge about courses, universities, the best institutions like that if we provide education counseling, or should we give just counseling about going abroad or such issues?
See, this field is very wide. So they are not the trained professionals, those who are giving counseling about universities, those who are giving counseling about, so you must have seen that immigrate to this country, meet our counselor. So they are not the trained counselors. All right. So if you have done a degree in psychology and if you are becoming a counselor, then it's you are getting that particular amount of training to become a counselor, to talk to an individual who comes to you. So a trained counselor is the one who you have to go to for any this particular, any regardless of any educational counseling wherein they administer testing also on you, regarding your aptitude, regarding your interest. So there are a lot of things. आपका interest एक चीज होती है, आपका aptitude एक चीज होती है, ठीक है। अगर आपका aptitude ही नहीं है और आपका interest है उस चीज में, तो क्या फायदा आपको जाने का, है ना। So वो सब चीजें we have to keep in mind when it comes to counseling. So those who are claiming कि we send children abroad and this and that, so it depends if they are, you can always check with them, are they trained counselors or not. So it is a very, while I was talking about it also, I mentioned that it's a very vast field and it's very there's a very thin line of differentiation. That is their training, what kind of training they have got, क्या उनको ट्रेनिंग मिली हुई है पहले से. So that depends. So बहुत सारी educational counselors हैं who are guiding students about what career paths to take. So maybe they start in from 7th, 8th onwards only, just to see what are they interested in. Counseling starts from that grade. So 9th, 10th is the age wherein children start, discovering, okay, I like this, I like that. Maybe my interest in this. But what if they are not able to score in that particular subject, or they are not able to actually do well in that particular subject? So then it shifts. So that's how a good counselor, educational counselor, or a therapist comes into play, wherein he or she guides that you are doing well at this particular thing, but you have aptitude for this, but you don't have interest for this. So if the child is also having interest and aptitude both in the same line, then only it is a good thing for the child. What if the child has interest in one particular, in maths or science, but he's not performing well, and then if he actually does it, will he be doing well in life? That will be a difficult thing. He might do well in life, but that will be a difficult path for him. So we as educational counselors or educational trainers, we have to think that we have to suggest our client in that particular way, that it should be aligned. So training is required in that particular field. Educational counselors do get in touch with parents, then they do get in touch with students, then they get in touch with schools. So it depends in what kind of profession is it. Anything else? Anyone has any doubts about anything? Or should we wrap up today's session? Any doubts that you guys have?
Good evening. This is Maheshwari from Coimbatore. Do we
Yes,
get the
ma'am.
recordings of these sessions, ma'am?
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. You can connect with your academic counselor. He will definitely help you with that.
Okay, okay. Other than this, I don't have any doubt, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank
But
you, ma'am.
wonderful session, ma'am. Wonderful beginning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Hope to see you tomorrow too with your videos on.
Yeah,
Sure,
cause
sure.
we
Please
want
be
the video.
ready.
Yeah, we want the videos on cause you will be handling the patient. Obviously, we will be selecting few candidates from this batch and give them a chance, to observe and to, follow up with the clients also. So most
Sure.
probably we will be, selecting few candidates who will be listed as a primary counselor in the official website also. So for that, we need the deserving candidate. We can't randomly pick and randomly say that yes, you are a counselor. Cause whenever you will be facing the client, so at that time you will do lots of fumbling and lots of wrong thing. And for this only these internship are designed specially. Okay, so that is the humble request to everyone, so that you can build up that confidence inside you. Okay.
Yes.
So it was a lovely session by Sonali ma'am, and hope we will be having a fun loving and lots of interactive session in future too. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.